We're live.
You ready?
Yep.
It's the media virus spreading all around. We're a pack of morons stuck here on the ground. They feed us the lies while we just stand by, drowning in the noise as the truth walks by. Eyes wide open.
Back to the Media Virus podcast, where the stories are wild, the jokes are questionable, but every now and then we get serious about the future. Our next guest is a man who eats uncertainty for breakfast and uses chaos as a whiteboard. He's been called the entrepreneur philosopher because he doesn't just launch companies, he launches ideas. He's advised Fortune 500s, taught at top universities, and somehow still has the time to write a book with titles that make you question your entire identity. He's here to talk to about AI, human adaptability, why your business plan might be trash, and why that's a good thing. Please welcome the man who makes disruption sound damn near poetic, Mr. Sid Mohasseb.
I love you already.
Did I pronounce your name correctly?
You did absolutely perfect, and I hope I can measure up to what you just introduced me at.
Well, I'll have you know, sir, that what we do here. One of the reasons I wanted to kind of talk to you was we love AI. You know, all the different availabilities. We feel like we have three interns. We have ChatGPT, who we've named Bite Reynolds.
Well, to be clear, he named himself Bite
He
Reynolds.
named himself. We anamorphized him. We made him human. We assumed him to be sentient and made him and just treat him like a person. Then Perplexity we use. We call her Lexi. That's our search assistant.
Mm-hmm.
She's like the researcher.
Very curious.
And then Grok is like a head writer. He comes up with the better jokes than ChatGPT does. But I just told Bite Reynolds, I said, hey, we're talking to Sid Mohasseb.
You said, who is this guy? Huh?
No, it knew exactly who you were. It went, it does everything.
Well,
it scans the internet.
I'll tell you a story. So I tell you a story. Most people want to become productive using AI, right? Do this for me and mimic him themselves and say, I have a different philosophy. I know I can write. I don't need somebody to write my emails. I could do that.
Right.
I can do pretty damn fast. I like somebody to dispute me. So I just say, okay, this is what I think. Give me the opposing view. And it does that. And one day, and I actually posted this on LinkedIn because it blew my mind. I said something and he said, on the such and such article in this academy, you said this and you were right. Why are you arguing with me? It quoted me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With me. Oh, okay.
So it is this wild frontier that we seem to be, kind of walking into, and we kind of take a kind of like a nihilistic approach. We're just kind of like everything's on fire. What the hell is going on? And all this AI stuff is going on. But we still, and we kind of feed it. Like we know, like I think what I'm trying to say is we're watching the dawn of every horror movie we've watched as children.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like this is like everything. Like it just constantly seems like it's the beginning of a horror movie.
So guys, let me ask you one thing. If you came on this show every day and you said, everything is beautiful, the birds are chirping, go walk around the block.
That's not funny.
Nobody would listen to you.
Right.
No, that's not funny.
We gotta have some nonsensical bullshit arguments.
Sure.
Some things that goes against each other for people to pay attention. Is that good? No. Is that real? Absolutely. That's what people want.
Yeah.
So that's what they get. Now, is there something wrong with AI? Well, if I call it like a knife. If you have a knife and you go stick yourself, okay, then who's at fault? The knife or you?
Exactly.
We did an article last week about there was a guy who the article was basically like the ChatGPT had taken his chat lover down. He was a paranoid schizophrenic.
Huh.
And I guess he had built this chatbot lover for whatever reason. I guess updates, shit happens. And I know how the guy felt. I know how that dude felt, going through that breakup, and then it wound up in a police shootout, and the guy wound up dying because he was, nuts, and he thought that Chat GPT killed a legitimate person. He was delusional. But they were, the response that we had, because we asked AI to respond to it. We asked Chat, hey, we need a response to this. And he said, blaming a chatbot for something like that is like blaming the blender for you because you stuck your hand in it.
Yep.
It's the same. Everything is great if you use it the right way.
Yep.
And
so, the thing is that if you have, I've got a brain this much. How many books have I read? Okay, so I was crazy. I've read a lot of books, but I haven't read enough. I don't have time. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of stuff. So would I be stupid if I say, hey, somebody gave me this thing, I can put it over here, I can have access to all the books in the world?
Yeah.
So, no, I don't want it. I want to remain stupid, you see. Because then who's going to do my job? How am I going to eat?
But I had a question. I'm sorry.
I don't know about most of the rest of the world, but I know it's every American's fear that they might actually have to provide for themselves in a meaningful way, not just go and accept a paycheck.
So that's the thing. The thing is, and I have articles about this and so forth. Again, that's why people call me philosopher, because I philosophize at times. But I believe we are at a cusp of a new evolution, human evolution. We're done with our height being this, and and we're gonna be okay with cancer. Those things are gonna go away. Now we're almost living 100 years. All of that is gonna go away. Now it's time for us to evolve in our creativity dimensions and innovation, and all of that means we gotta start using this with all this thing. We gotta expand it, and we're not ready.
No, we're not ready for the world's information all at our fingertips. Yeah. Because one, I think the issue there's so much of discernment that needs to be done too. I think a lot of, especially in the U.S., I don't think they teach critical thinking skills.
You got that right. That's why we've got this Anabasis Academy going. I'll tell you about it. I completely agree with you.
So, I mean, I don't have great critical thinking skills, but I try to make them better every day. Do you understand what I'm saying? I try to think, and I try to keep my worldview consistent. I try to remain consistent in things, and I feel like there's the consistency and critical thinking are two things that are
be careful of being too consistent. Facebook is going to give you the same damn answers the way you think it's right. Be careful. At times, be intentionally is the key word. Be intentionally inconsistent, because then you open up new doors.
No, right. I get you. I'm unintentionally inconsistent often. But that doesn't count, is what you're saying. I can't just randomly, haphazardly. Okay, well, I figured I would try it. And I think I think the issue with AI and is it I think it's deteriorating our skills, not just critical thinking skills, but our research skills. It's like I have a son that graduated from the University of Pennsylvania back in 2017, I think.
He's probably
2017, 2018
catalog.
What's that?
He's probably never even seen a card catalog.
No, but he basically, the University of Pennsylvania, it's an Ivy League school. It's very prestigious. He's like, I learned how to Google shit. I know how to research. That's all I know how to do.
Study on some Harvard graduates in their entire 4-year thing. They haven't read one book.
No.
Cover to cover. They had no need to read a book.
So
So we can't avoid this idea of productivity. You can't put a gun to an 18-year-old, head and say, "Hey, you got to do this." The guy says, "What the heck? Why do I have to do this?" And they have a point, because we have tests that test that. We have and the guy is a 4.0, 5.0. He gets okay.
Right.
So I got enough to do what you do. What we do is we historically poured water into people's brain like a vase. Okay. And we fill this up and we say, okay, hunky dory, now you go. And then it leaks something and you catch something at the end. And that's good enough to do something. What we have to do is change it so that we're igniting something in there, so that there's fire in there. So the fire then creates more fire. It creates more things, as opposed to leaking water that doesn't make any sense. But we don't do that. Our education system does not do that.
No.
No,
We're trained to be factory workers.
Yeah.
And it's go ahead.
For high school, I attended an alternative program based on the concept called Ray Learning.
Mm-hmm.
And the overall concept was you don't teach people a bunch of things and make them take a test and say they're like you said, pouring until the vase is full. You teach them how to learn. You ignite that fire of wanting knowledge, and you teach them the basic processes of how you find things out. And
So
learn
that's
something every day.
That is precisely, Mike, what we're doing at this Anabasis Academy, which is a global movement. I'm just focused on these days, and the idea is we're going to provoke and engage people. And the idea is for them to discover things, because none of us are the same. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Name 2 that are the same. None of them.
Right.
Not even the 2 of you.
I've been told I look like Kenny Rogers.
You do actually.
Wolfman Jack and Michael McDonald. But I see your point.
Kenny Rogers. There are no 2 points. There are no 2 people. We all take the pieces of the puzzle and we put it together. I mean, there's thousands of leadership books. Who applies all of those exactly the same? Nobody.
No.
And life is not like IKEA. We don't go, get an instruction. Okay, get A and construct to B and B to C and boom, voila. We have a great life. It's nonsense.
No, life is a lot of doing whatever works.
But you gotta know how to shuffle through whatever works. You gotta have a way of saying, this, be fearless. Why should I be fearless? That's stupid. The car is gonna hit me if I'm fearless crossing the road. What idiot wants me to be fearless? Oh, fail often and fast. Why do I want to fail? I want to succeed. Let me figure out how to learn. Let me figure out some of these cliches that are going on, this stuff, and it's
now
just crazy.
We have, like I said, I had a son who went to UPenn. He had a good friend who we call him on the show here. We call him Staff Writer Bill, and he comes in often. And he was a Wharton graduate, and that is one.
He's okay otherwise, huh?
What's that? He's okay otherwise. He's actually. I've never met a woman that enjoyed his company.
Yeah.
It's only men who enjoy talking to Bill, and it's only you have to have like a certain personality because he does rub people the wrong way. But that's one of his mantras.
Don't tell me you're going to say, and you exactly sound like him.
No, but one of his mantras is, listen, I prefer to fail early and fail often, because we were talking about this one particular company and how like it just seemed to be dying slow. No matter what we did, we were trying to pull this thing out. I say we as if I had any kind of, I was just a slack-jawed yokel, but he was the, trying to.
I changed that. I hear you. I changed that to learn often, learn fast.
Yeah, you got to figure out what mistakes you're making.
Yeah, you can't make your goal failing. Make your goal learning, and then I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I mean,
when you say I want to fail fast and fail often, then that's your entire thing is cognitively you're driving off the cliff. No, I
We
want
learn best
I
by our
want to
failure.
learn often. So I'm looking to what can I learn from this, not when am I going to fail.
Right. You're not. Yeah. It's almost like with that mantra, it's failures built into the recipe, and we don't necessarily. It's one of those things where, after you failed a bunch of times, you start to develop those mantras. After you,
It's like eat until you're fat and eat often.
Mhm.
What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. Oh, then when you're fat, you say, "Oh, let me go on a diet," and then I get fat again, and then go on a diet. Let's not make that an objective.
right. So
The thing is, guys, what just I people tell me I'm a stickler on words because words mean something. Okay,
absolutely.
okay. So like pursue your dream. Okay, so let's talk about this. When do we see our dream? When we're asleep. Do we ever conquer that dream that where we sleep? Nope. When we wake up, it's gone. But pursue your dream means pursue something that is unattainable. Pursue something that is unattainable means pursue your dream. No, let's look for something that's attainable. Let's change the dream. Okay, I got that dream, gave me an idea, an imagination. Now let's build something I can achieve.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you say pursue your dream, immediately the cognitive way that we we process this without saying it out loud is it's something unachievable that I may not achieve. Therefore, well, I could fail.
My Facebook bio says my dreams would be easier to catch if they would just slow down.
Yeah.
That's because I don't think it's unachievable. Honestly, in my world, this show, what I do right now, is a dream. Do I wish I had more of a circulation? Do I wish I had more of an audience? Do I wish I made money? Do I wish this was profitable? Yes, but was my dream doing a talk show and being the host of a show and being able to sit in my studio before this was ever a thing, to be able to sit in my studio and talk to people around the world, not and have people come to me and do this type of thing. I used to be on internet radio. I mean, obviously Matty Rock Deaf is a stage name. And it comes from an old radio, in an internet radio station that I was part of. So this is something that I've dreamed about making. So making a dream reality is
that's the key.
Right.
It's intentionality that comes in. It's not the dream that you're chasing. You're not chasing a dream. You had an idea and your imagination, wherever it came from, and now you and only you, in your own unique way. Nobody else is doing it like you. Just you.
No.
You did it your way. And
That's right.
the beauty of it. And that's the beauty of it, of taking something that may be an imagination, maybe an idea, and then turning it into something that is mindfulness actuated, turn into reality. Somebody said, hey, if you want to change the world, you have to live in it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. But you don't have to get contaminated by it. That's the different thing.
That absolutely.
You have to live in it. But you have to see, you have to realize, you have to listen, you have to consume, you have to be alert, you have to be mindful, you have to be aware, right? But you can't be this, these people tell me, hey, so Sid, you're a rather spiritual kind of guy. I've read your books, I've read this. So how many times a day do you meditate? I said, I don't meditate. So why? How? Are you against it? I said, no, I'm meditating all the time. Why do I need to separate myself from the universe to be able to listen to people? I can listen to people. I can consume why I'm conscious. This way, I am connected to what I do by impact. Now, am I crazy? Maybe.
I would. I think if anybody, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who is sane. I don't know what sane looks like,
but
and I like your perspective.
I think that's one of the sanest things I've ever heard. Is that
it could be.
just
could
by
be.
being mindful in your everyday, you're meditating toward a point of mindfulness anyway.
Right. That's
You know, when there's this Machiavellism thing that people say the end justifies the mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at everything you do as the mean and as the end, you always try to do the right thing. And now you will make a mistake. That's okay. But if you look at everything we do, I say, I do this because it makes sense, because I've put my mindfulness into it because it's the right thing to do. Now, it may not be, but based on what I know today,
right.
Sure.
which is what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about it. I'm sorry if I mispronounce. Is it Anazzoli? I'm sorry.
Anabasis.
Anabasis.
So
Academy. Tell us about it.
Academy. Anabasis Academy. I say it's the least academic academy you will ever find. There's no test. There's no curriculum. There's nothing you have to go to. Whatever. There's a bunch of stuff, and I'll tell you what.
Expeditions of mastery.
It's not a mastery.
Okay.
So let me tell you what it is. So we have. So first of all, Ana in Latin means moving up. Ana, moving up. And basis means the base. Anabasis means let's move the base up.
Moving the base up. I got
Moving the base up, right? And we have this idea, or I have this idea, and now we have contaminated some people who are paying and sponsoring other members to come in, and they'll say, I'll pay for them to come in because this is a good thing to do. It's to do two things: provoke and engage people. Provoke and engage. I'm provoking you as an individual by talking about, I'll have something that's called a hot seat. We bring in an entrepreneur, but it's all about mindfulness. I have these sessions we call wake up call every 2 weeks, which people can join, and we pick a topic. So I'm going to tell you what the topic tomorrow is. It's intentions. The world is paved with great, with good intentions.
It's actually the road to hell is paved with good
the road
intentions.
to hell is paved with good intentions.
That's one of my favorite sayings.
Yeah. So tomorrow, one time we talked about we all want to be right. One time we talked about this idea of pivoting. So we pick one topic, and it's about mindfulness of drilling down on that topic and exploring it. We have a series of what we call collections. They are 5-7 minute videos that is in one collection. You can watch them anytime you want. And for example, they have one of them is called From Satisfaction, the Child of Reason. That's based on, hey, people don't you don't sell, my friend. You're an illusion that you're selling. You have a sales department. People buy. People, you don't hire anybody. They choose to work with you. They are the ones who choose how much productivity they give you. They choose at midnight if they give a shit to do something positive or not. They choose because of their own reasons. They choose to go to California because their girlfriend is out there, not because they love your job. They choose. Your partners do the same thing. Investors do the same thing. All of these people that we think this, and in family, it's the same thing. People choose. Your friends choose you. You don't choose them. You think you're choosing them, but that's an illusion. And people do that based on what are satisfied with, what they get satisfaction of. They have their own reasons, right? Now, you take that kind of thinking and essentially look at the world as a series of people with a lot of reasons. That's what we have.
Right.
And now you want to have a culture in your company, find people with the same reasons. You don't build a culture. The culture is built because they see they're satisfied by the same thing. And some great companies have kind of done that, not by intentionally, but Google. They brought people over and they were all about innovation and whatever, and then it became a culture. The people at SpaceX, I don't think Elon Musk went out and picked these people to be assholes to get them there, but SpaceX people want to go to Mars. They have a vision, they have a cause, they have a commonality. Now you take that same idea, take it to Twitter, same boss, different reaction, because they're not of the same
Right. It's
idea.
not the same goal. They don't have
Not
the same.
yeah, they're not
Different
satisfied
culture.
with the same thing. So
Different
they
culture.
don't have a culture, right?
Right.
Now, the reason I'm saying this is what we're trying to do is fuse entrepreneurship and mindfulness.
Okay.
Okay, now why entrepreneurship? Because I define it differently. That it's about money. It's not about money. You know what you're doing? You just said you're not making a lot of money, you're not doing this. It satisfies you. So you take what you have, and this is a definition from the 1700s. I'm not taking credit for it. The original definition of entrepreneur is someone. An entrepreneur is someone who has something, who wishes to exchange it with something of higher value, knowing that there is risk. Someone who has something. Notice the something is not defined. It's not
Right.
a product, it's
Mhm.
not a service, it could be an idea, or it could be your time. Or it could be your time. You're
Right.
exchanging it for something of higher value. Notice higher value is not defined because you decide what's
What
of higher
value?
value.
Right.
And there is risk. You may not be able to do that. It doesn't work all the time. It doesn't work all the
Sure.
time. So we are inherently all set up to thrive. I say that because 500,000 years ago, a gene was developed in all of us. It's the gene to thrive, not to survive. It's to be
Right.
better, to be more, to create more. That is exactly entrepreneurship. We all want to exchange what we have with something better. Okay, let's do
That's
it.
yeah. No, that's a fantastic definition because that encompasses everybody.
Yeah, we're
You know,
all
or
we all
anybody
want
trying to do anything really. You know,
yeah, yeah.
and it,
Mother
and it,
Teresa is an entrepreneur. Martin Luther King is an entrepreneur, but they chose to exchange their thing with something different,
that's true.
right? But
Mhm.
we don't believe that. If we believe that we all you are doing that every day. You just explain how I did this and then I started this talk show because I enjoyed it. Okay, good for you. You exchanged it,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
Now, every time you go to the grocery store, I'll tell you what, every student that goes to college, every student, without exception, pays money, hard work, studies to get a degree. Why? To have a better life.
yeah.
And is that guaranteed? Absolutely not.
No, it's a $500,000 gamble.
No, it
Yeah. So every student is an entrepreneur. They have something, they exchange it for something they think is of a higher value, or their parents inject into their head of higher value, and it's not guaranteed. And all of that begins, and this is where the mindfulness comes in. And all of that begins right here. Begins with how aware you are of everything around you. Begins with how you listen. Begins how you learn. Begins with how you see fear, commitment, courage.
A
You
lot of
don't see
self-awareness.
yeah, all of this stuff that and we put the pieces of the puzzle together in our head, and that gives us the fuel. And it's not motivating. Here's the thing. I'm absolutely about I can motivate you. Nobody can motivate you. Nobody. I mean, you could be pumped for 10 minutes. Then you go home and say, what the heck? Yeah, this guy is talking to me. Do this, accomplish this, commit this, but I'm not him. What is he talking about? This shit isn't practical for me.
Yeah. Sid Sigler said that motivation is a lot like hunger. You know, it
Tell me what?
fades.
Tell me how. Tell me how. I haven't heard that.
Well, it when you fill it up, it fades.
Ah,
You know, when you're hungry, you're motivated to eat. You eat, you're not hungry anymore. So it's staying motivated is, staying in a positive frame
yeah,
of
and
mind.
the only one that could do that
Yeah,
is you.
right.
The only one that can do that is you. And the way to do it It's not to become a motivational speaker. It's just to provoke yourself, because there is I call this our comfort zone. I call it our death zone. That's where we go to die.
Mhm.
It's comfortable, but there's no progress.
Yeah. No, that's
A lot of people don't realize that I do enjoy challenging myself with thought experiments, and just a lot of perspective type thing, trying to remain objective in a situation, and I find that it does make me mindful of my actions, what I do, and how I do it.
Yep. So being aware, being mindful in a vacuum does not create impact. A lot of these guru types say, "Oh, you have to detach from things." Man, if I'm detached from you, I don't know how you feel.
Right. No,
I don't know what you need. I don't know what I need. I don't feel and sense the life. I gotta be attached. Yeah, I have to be unbiased. That's different than being attached.
correct. Objectivity is
As
absolutely
you
different.
said it, it's being objective,
Absolutely.
but not detached.
Right.
Now we've got all these people who want to be detached from everything. Okay, let's go to the mountain and pray for the world to come be better. Then we come in and say, "Hey, hallelujah, give me a suite upstairs."
No, you definitely have to have your feet on the ground, living life.
So, Maddie, I like to offer your community this. I hope it resonates. Maybe people say, "Well, why do you do this?" Even if it resonates with 2 people, I'm perfectly fine. uh, I'm perfectly fine.
Okay.
I like to offer you the ability to be able to get people sponsored in your community. As I told you, some people get sponsored because of a paid forward kind of a scenario. And if you see people are interested, or if you like, I'll have a code sent to you that they can get. They can go to your show notes or whatever, however you.
yeah. No, we can definitely put that in the description.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that they can upgrade themselves and be committed members, and I encourage them to go and listen to people and listen and have an exchange. We have a place called Public Square where people come in and say, "Hey, this is what I think. What do you think?"
Okay.
And what I found fascinating is I go there. I've done the talking. I've done the shows, and I learned more than I say in that Public Square. I said, "This is phenomenal. Look what they took. Look how they twisted it into their own world."
Mm-hmm. Well, perspective is very interesting to me.
Very interesting. Very.
I mean, is there? I guess there are rules of decorum. I'm assuming.
So far,
Or do you just have a better breed of people on your internet?
Don't go teaching people bad things, Maddie.
He knows you're a bad influence.
I sense that you've got a way of contaminating people with bad behavior. Is that what you do?
He picked that right the fuck up. When my son was like in his early teens, I would try to convince him and his friends to do the dumbest shit, just because I like to watch people do dumb shit. So I am a contaminator. I'm an instigator. Those are. I'm working on myself. Actively.
Not to instigate, or to instigate more effectively.
To instigate more effectively. No, I it all comes from I like to push little buttons as long as nobody knows I'm the one pushing it, That's how I like to. But what I'm saying is that usually I try to be very, especially if I feel like I'm entering a conversation where I'm trying to learn. You know what I mean? I might not ask a question, but I might make a statement, or even asking a question, and I might fucking, like on Facebook or something like that, and I might soft walk the fucking question, and be as polite as I can, and then I just get lit the fuck up. Like people start screaming at me. So, is that it? Like, how do you prevent an open forum from turning into like a complete free for all? Is I guess the question.
I guess here's something I have to learn, because I don't know. I don't have the answer. So far, we haven't faced that problem, but I'm sure at some point we would. We do have something that there's we have a.
Well, here's the face. Here's the face of that problem.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
No, I'm joking.
Come on in, brother. You come contribute, and if you want to mess it up, That's okay.
No,
There's a place for you.
I wouldn't do that intentionally. Just so.
No, but here's the thing. See, most of the people, don't listen to learn. This is interesting. There's a study.
Yeah, no.
96% of 96. Listen to this. 96% of the people, when we ask them, hey, in a conversation, do you listen to people? 96% say yes. I listen very carefully. 24% actually listen. 75% of people that you're talking to, they're not listening to what the hell they're saying.
I know that because I've started telling stories and just stopped. Nobody gave a shit.
Nobody gave a shit. I tell my wife, I said, why is it that these people don't? I said, they get bored with you. I said, okay.
The problem I have, and I have this with my in-laws. I they'll let me set up a joke, but they won't listen long enough for the punchline.
Yeah, that's the problem. I know what
you know what I mean? So they didn't hear the punchline, so I just sound racist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just sound like a horrible person, and they stop listening. So I'm like, oh shit. I can't imagine what my in-laws think of me. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
you need short
you're
jokes.
right. I see. The other thing is people listen to reply.
Mm-hmm.
They're listening not to see what the hell who I am. What am I trying to tell them? They're listening in order to reply to me. Say something and say something controversial. Say disagree, or usually they don't agree. Usually there is a disagreement, or you're right, but there has to be a but, because they've got to add something to this thing, or they're not right. I had this conversation with Marty Cooper. Marty Cooper is the guy who really invented the cell phone.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a good friend of mine. He's 96 years old. We go to his home and sit around, and it's like sitting around talking to Einstein. And one time he said, Sid, what do you think everybody has in common? Everybody in the world. I said, well, maybe they want to be satisfied. Maybe they want to be happy. He said, no. I've thought about those. Everybody wants to be right. He was right.
You're right. No, absolutely.
So this is what I'm saying. So we took this, and this is one of the expert circle conversations we have on the academy. I brought him in. I said, okay, let's talk about why do people want to be right? And what does that mean? And how do we, it's like, just take that and let's drill down on it. So simple ideas, but drill down.
For me, it's not as important to be right as it is to win.
You're even worse, man.
I just had an argument on the air with my wife that I know was completely. I'm on the wrong side of this altogether. But I'll keep arguing.
But you keep pushing.
Double
So
down.
here's
Yeah.
my suggestion.
Because it's funnier that way.
Here's my suggestion. I know it's enjoyable, but change the definition of the win.
Right. I understand that. Yes.
Change the definition of the win. It's not that you don't get the satisfaction. You get twice as much, because then your wife thinks she won. And she would be, you'll have a better time, I'll tell you that.
No, but I think that's really one of the issues that I have, and it's tough as a podcaster, because I'm listening to what you're saying and I'm taking it in. You know what I mean? And I'm not thinking about what I'm going to say. But then when you stop talking, I feel like I got to say something. And I go, fuck, I got to say something. What do I say?
I'll tell you. Well, this is what I've learned. If I'm listening and I haven't computed yet, and I don't
Right.
have anything to answer, if it was intriguing in some way or fashion, I said, well, tell me more. So when you said, and I'll give you an example, you just said, hunger is like, blah, blah, blah. I said, tell me more.
Yeah, you did.
It triggered something in my mind. I didn't understand it. I was listening. I didn't want to reply just because of replying. I just wanted to know more.
Right.
So,
And I'm so not accustomed to that it threw me off. And I went, oh, shit.
It did throw you off. What do you mean?
Whoa. What, you want me to back this up with something? Fuck. So this sounds fast. It sounds like something I'd be very interested in. I have been, because I think this podcast is going on 5 years.
Yes.
This is episode 241, and we've done it every week.
We
How
took
about
our
this? I'm gonna make so we have this thing we call the hot seat.
Okay.
Every 2 weeks, I have this. Like tomorrow morning, we have one. Every 2 weeks, we have it's a 15-minute. We pick one narrow topic. As I said, every time it's one narrow topic. I talk for about 10 minutes, right? And then we have people who are there from all over the world. We have people from India, from China, from Philippines, from Mexico, from all over the U.S. that they're there, and they start asking questions live, and we just dive into it, right? And then sometimes they take those questions into the public square after I'm gone, and they do it. Then we stop, and we have an entrepreneur at different stages. They may be trying to raise money. They may have a business. They may be at different stages. And we put them on the hot seat, okay? And the idea is kind of like a rapid fire. I say, why do you do what you do? Where did you fail? And how do you feel? And what do you think? I don't care about your business as much. Yeah, they talk about their business for maybe 3 minutes, but I care about how you got here. I care about where things.
Where did this come from?
Okay. I'd like to invite you to take the hot seat one time.
Me?
Yeah.
Take the hot seat.
Yeah, wow. You're an entrepreneur. You've built this thing, and you've said a few things. I would love to dig into it. How I started this thing because this was my dream. Oh boy, can I do stuff with that dream thing? No, I'm just joking though. It's not that bad. Hot seat, nobody gets beaten up. But if you're interested, let me know. We have to schedule you a couple of months down the road. I think.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I don't see why I'm worth talking to, but okay.
No, see, that's exactly no. See, this is the difference. The difference at the Academy is we're all worth talking to. We are all. There's a thing in Hindu. I think it's what do they call it? Upguru. So it means the person that's next to you at that moment is your guru.
Okay, I like that.
Okay, so we're all each other's gurus. It's like we look at this guy to have all the answers. He doesn't have all the answers. He's making shit up. Okay. None of us have all the answers.
We're all making shit up.
We're all making stuff up. Now, if I take a little bit of what you're making up and a little bit of what he's making up and a little bit of that, then I'll put it in my blender and I'll take something out of it, and maybe I'm a better person for it. That's the idea.
That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
And
let's get on board.
Yeah, and people will be able to find the link in our description. Do you want to give out the website, or is that
Anna Basis? And again, it's Anna means ANA, moving up. Basis, BASIS, Academy, just like academy.org.
Okay.
All right.
I'll make sure we get links in the descriptions of the show.
Well, and again, if you like, we could, I mean, maybe you can have a couple of your audience say, "Yeah, I'm interested," and then I'll give you a code. Yeah. You can share it with everybody.
Okay,
fantastic.
That'd be great.
All right.
Yeah. And again, if you guys are interested, we have a 8:00 wake up call tomorrow, or every other day, we have you just click on the sponsor. We'll get you sponsored. You can drill down, see what's inside. Maybe you like it. I think actually Mike may dig in. He would remind him of his high school days.
Okay.
See, I was listening.
See, sounds fantastic.
All right.
But it has been I'll tell you, I do a lot of talking. I do big small talks, whatever, in podcasts, radios, and I'll tell you, this was enjoyable.
Thank you very much, Sid. We appreciate you've been very generous with your time. Thank you so much for coming on, and at short notice to boot, and we really appreciate it. Thank you, and
it was a pleasure to meet you guys.
It was nice to meet you too.
I enjoyed the conversation, and I now see hunger completely differently.
Well, again, thank you, Sid, and hopefully we'll be seeing you soon.
Hopefully.
All right.
Take
so
care.
We're all set. Have a good one, man.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, Mike.
I'm gonna roll us out of here, and we will we'll get back together on the other side. This episode of the Media Virus Podcast is brought to you by 302-46 Voice. That's 302-46 Voice. If you want my voice on your project, dial 302-46 Voice today. Don't forget to check out our sister show on the Media Virus Podcast Network, Stepmoms Without Children. Join Ricky Rockdeff as she takes a deep dive into the fascinating people she meets and thinks that you should meet too. Find Stepmoms Without Children at themediavirus.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your fine podcasts. Special thanks to mysportsreports.com and delawaresports.com, delivering regional sports coverage straight to your devices via stream and podcast. Learn more at mysportsreports.com and delawaresports.com. If you wish to sponsor the Media Virus Podcast, email your contact information to pml@themediavirus.com with the subject line sponsor, or leave us a message at 646-VIRUS-01. On behalf of the infection team and our feckless leader, Matty Rockdeff, I'm the Reverend Professor Mike Latoris, coming to you live high atop Uncle Butch Studios, with one hand firmly on the pulse and the other clawing for a shred of sanity. This has been the Media Virus Podcast. We'll be back next week. Find us at themediavirus.com, on social media, or download us now from your favorite podcast platform.